When Star-Lord drops the orb in the Collector's Museum, it looks like simple clumsiness. That drop was never in the script. James Gunn kept it after Chris Pratt confessed it was intentional. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 20. Star-Lord fumbles the orb during the Collector's Museum scene, and every viewer reads it as a deliberate character beat. The truth is stranger. Chris Pratt dropped it by accident mid-take, stayed in character, and said nothing. Director James Gunn reviewed the footage, liked it, and locked the take without asking what happened. Only afterward did Pratt confess it was intentional. Gunn laughed and kept it anyway, as confirmed on the Blu-ray audio commentary. Watch the Collector scene and track Pratt's eyeline during the fumble. He never breaks contact with Benicio del Toro. That calm was a deliberate calculation by an actor who decided to risk everything on a single take. The Collector's Museum was loaded with choices just as intentional. Number 19. The Collector's Vault looks like visual chaos on first watch, with cages and specimens stacked in every direction. Gunn told producer Kevin Feige that every single container holds something specific designed for fans to freeze frame on Blu-ray. Feige confirmed the museum became what he called crazy potential. Visually verified items include a dark elf from Thor, the Dark World, a Chitauri soldier from the Avengers, and a creature from Gunn's own 2006 film Slither. Marvel Studios connected all three films through prop placement alone. Pause the wide museum establishing shot and examine the background cages along the upper walls. The museum is not set dressing. It is a hidden MCU timeline encoded entirely in props. One of those cases holds a character primed for a much bigger reveal. Number 18. The golden cocoon visible inside the Collector's Museum appears to be decorative background dressing. Gunn confirmed in interviews that it was placed intentionally as Adam Warlock's cocoon, referencing a cosmic Marvel character audiences had not yet encountered. The same cocoon first appeared in Thor: The Dark World's mid-credit sequence, which Gunn directed, linking both films through a single prop. Gunn noted in his audio commentary that the placement was a deliberate reward for comic readers who would recognize it. Look for the glowing golden pod in the upper section of the museum during the wide shot after the team arrives at Knowhere. Rewatch knowing that a major character's future was seated inside a decoration none of the main characters ever acknowledge. The post-credit scene added another hidden character through an equally spontaneous decision. Number 17. The post-credit scene shows the Collector sitting in his ruined museum while a small duck character drinks from a glass beside him. That character is Howard the Duck, and his appearance was completely unplanned. Gunn confirmed in Empire magazine that he and editor Fred Raskin spontaneously added Howard, with Gunn writing the line of dialogue on the spot. Feige approved it immediately after laughing at the screening. Howard is voiced by Seth Green and appears in the lower left corner of the final frame for only a few seconds. Pause the post-credits scene the moment the Collector looks toward the glass. Howard the Duck's return to live-action cinema was a spontaneous call made by two people in an editing suite. The film was built on moments born from this kind of unplanned decision. Number 16. Star-Lord feels like a role built specifically for Chris Pratt from the moment he appears on screen. Casting director Sarah Halley Finn had been pushing Pratt for months while Gunn actively refused to consider him. Finn eventually got Pratt into the room, and according to Variety, Gunn turned to Finn approximately 12 seconds into the audition and said, "He's the one." The search had already spanned more than 300 actors. Watch the opening Morag sequence and pay attention to the relaxed physical instinct Pratt brings from the very first frame. That quality was what Gunn had spent the entire casting process searching for. The man who now defines the role was the last person the director wanted to meet. To earn it, Pratt had to physically become someone entirely different in 6 months. Number 15. The shirtless reveal during the Kyln prison processing sequence suggests a physique built for action films from the start. Pratt had intentionally gained weight for a previous project and began production weighing around 300 pounds. Working with trainer Duffy Gaver and nutritionist Phil Goglia, Pratt followed a strict daily plan of approximately 4,000 clean calories combined with boxing, swimming, and intensive cross-training. He lost 60 pounds in 6 months. Pratt described the hydration requirements as the most uncomfortable element of the entire process in published interviews with Men's Journal. Look at the Kyln decontamination sequence closely. The transformation visible in that single scene happened across 1/2 year of focused work. That transformation almost never happened because Gunn refused to consider Pratt until Finn forced the audition. Number 14. The Baby Groot dancing scene at the film's close looks like a pure VFX invention, the kind of sequence audiences assume required months of design meetings. Gunn confirmed in a widely reported Yahoo interview that he cleared every crew member from the room, set up a camera alone, and filmed himself dancing to the track. He sent the footage directly to the Framestore animation team and had them animate over his own movements frame by frame. Friends recognized his specific arm and shoulder rhythm at the film's premiere. Watch Baby Groot's movements closely during the first 10 seconds of the dance. That movement pattern belongs to one person performing alone in an empty studio. The most celebrated VFX moment in a film is Gunn performing privately and hoping no one would recognize it. Number 13. Baby Groot's sudden freeze whenever Dave Bautista's character glances over plays as pure visual comedy on first watch. A deleted scene released in the Phase 2 Blu-ray collection changes the reading entirely. Full-sized Groot had been shown dancing while Drax watched with complete cultural dismissal. Gunn revealed in a recorded interview that dancing is deeply disrespectful within Drax's worldview, adding that if Drax held any position of authority, dancing would be his first target. Bautista confirmed the deleted scene's existence at Fan Expo Canada, explaining it was cut to protect the film's momentum. Watch Groot go completely motionless the instant Drax glances over in that closing scene. That freeze carries a narrative history built across footage audiences were never shown. Drax himself held another hidden story encoded across his body. Number 12. Every marking across Bautista's body reads visually as a warrior's decoration, and the natural assumption is that each tattoo represents a conquest. A deleted scene from the Knowhere sequence, released on the Phase 2 Blu-ray set and confirmed by Bautista at Fan Expo Canada, reveals the opposite. Drax explains in that scene that each marking records a specific personal memory, his wedding ceremony and the birth of his daughter. Bautista described the scene as one he personally fought to keep, but it was removed to protect the film's pacing. Look at the largest tattoo centered on Drax's chest in any close-up during the Knowhere sequence. That marking is a record of the day his daughter was born. The film hid its emotional core inside what looked like cosmetic design. Number 11. Every screen, sign, and prison display throughout the film reads as decorative science fiction typography. Design Studio Territory Studio built entirely unique typefaces for each planet and ship, including a prison-specific font called Kyln developed by font designer Lee Fasciani, drawing directly from vintage Marvel Comics lettering systems. Creative director David Sheldon Hicks confirmed in an Art of VFX interview that every text surface encodes real information rather than placeholder characters. One tribute encoded in a later alien font references a specific graphic designer by name. Pause any Kyln prison control panel or Nova Corps display visible in the background of a crowd scene. The characters on those screens form a functioning written language. The production built an entire alphabet that the audience was never expected to find, let alone decode. Number 10. Star-Lord's Milano dashboard controls look like standard animated graphics composited over footage in post-production. The reality was almost entirely a live physical performance. Territory Studio designed the cassette insert animations so that a crew operator pressed physical triggers in real time, synchronized precisely to each button press Pratt made on camera. Every screen response in the cockpit was a coordinated live effort between the actor and a crew member watching a separate monitor. Sheldon Hicks confirmed in production interviews that the boundary between practical and digital elements was deliberately blurred until it disappeared on screen. Watch the cockpit displays during any tape insert moment in the film. The animation responds to Pratt's hands because a crew member was pressing a button at the exact same instant. That sequence is a live performance hidden inside a digital effect. Number 9. Rocket Raccoon is seamlessly photoreal throughout the film, with fur texture and movement that reads as a living creature sharing actual space with the other actors. The Framestore VFX team brought a real raccoon named Oreo to Shepperton Studios in Surrey, England, to study as live reference throughout production. Costume designer Alexandra Byrne also built a full-sized stuffed rocket figure dressed in the actual costume to give actors in the lighting department a physical stand-in. The American Society of Cinematographers documented both decisions in a published feature on Rocket's development. Look at Rocket's fur detail in the close-up confrontation scene inside the Kyln. Those specific weight and shading choices came from observing a real animal on location. The most digital character in the film was grounded in something entirely alive. Number 8. Rocket's body language, comedic timing, and physical integration with the other actors feel completely seamless throughout the film. Actor Bradley Cooper provided only voice recordings for the role. Every physical Rocket performance during production was delivered by Sean Gunn, the director's brother, performing at Rocket's actual height across every scene. James Gunn explained on Facebook Live that Sean possessed a rare physical ability, moving at Rocket's specific height and posture in a way most actors could not sustain. Sean also played Ravager Kraglin in the same film, appearing on screen in a completely separate role while simultaneously serving as the physical foundation for a digital character. Watch any scene where a cast member looks downward to address Rocket. That eyeline and comedic timing are entirely built on Sean Dunn performing below frame. Number 7. Young Peter's mother asks him to take her hand in the opening hospital scene, and it appears to establish the film's emotional backstory. Gunn confirmed in the Blu-ray commentary that this moment was deliberately designed to mirror the film's climax. When Pratt reaches into the Power Stone during the final act, he flashes back to that bedside moment, then takes Gamora's hand instead, distributing the stone's energy across the group. Gunn built the ending backward from the opening scene's gesture. Producer Kevin Feige confirmed the structural decision in production interviews as one of Gunn's most deliberate choices. Watch Pratt's extended hand during the Power Stone sequence and compare it to the child reaching toward his mother in the opening frames. The actress in that hospital scene had already appeared in a different MCU role. Number 6. Actress Laura Haddock plays Meredith Quill in the opening hospital sequence, with complete emotional naturalism, and nothing in the film flags her as anything other than a new character. Haddock had previously appeared in Captain America: The First Avenger, as a fan asking Steve Rogers for an autograph, a completely separate character in a different decade of the MCU's timeline. Gunn addressed the connection directly on the Blu-ray commentary, stating, "There is no connection unless somebody wants to make one down the road. Watch the autograph scene in The First Avenger and compare the actress to the hospital sequence in this film. The same performer occupies both moments across a 70-year MCU gap." Gunn left that thread open deliberately. The film disguised its real-world London locations with the same careful misdirection. Number 5. The gleaming white and steel cityscapes of Xandar look like a completely constructed alien world built on sound stages. The Lloyd's building on Lime Street in the city of London provided Xandar's most recognizable skyline. The building, famously designed with all mechanical systems on its exterior, was filmed and flipped horizontally for the final cut. The Millennium Bridge also appears in the sequence where civilians flee the Dark Aster's approach, filmed on location in August 2013. Production designer Charles Wood and his team used existing London architecture as the foundation of an alien civilization. Watch the Xandar establishing shots and look for the Lloyd's building's exposed structural detail in the skyline. That architecture is real and still standing in central London. The film's largest interior set was physically built and then deliberately erased. Number 4. The Kyln prison interior looks like an enormous digital environment, too structurally complex to have been built as a practical set. Gunn confirmed on the audio commentary that the Kyln was a physical steel construction built at Shepperton Studios in Surrey. The set weighed 100 tons. After principal photography concluded, the production sold the steel back for scrap, meaning the set no longer exists in any form. Look at the depth and physical mass of the prison environment in any wide Kyln shot. That structural weight exists because the space was real and standing around the actors. Framestore contributed digital extensions, but the foundation was entirely physical. The same budget constraints that required destroying that set forced the creation of a new alien species to populate the story. Number 3. The Sakharon soldiers serving Ronin appear throughout the film as a coherent alien military force with a consistent visual identity. Gunn confirmed in a May 2014 interview that the Sakharans were created specifically to replace the Badoon, the alien race from the original comics whose film rights were owned by 20th Century Fox at the time. An entirely new species with its own visual language was built from nothing because of a licensing conflict with a competing studio. Look at the Sakharan uniforms during the Dark Aster battle sequence in the final act. Every soldier in that sequence is a creative workaround disguised as world building. Marvel Studios turned a legal obstacle into a new layer of the universe. The film's entire creative direction was also shaped by a single note from another filmmaker. Number 2. Guardians of the Galaxy feels unlike anything else in Phase 2 of the MCU. Stranger, looser, and less anchored to Earth in tone and structure. Writer and director Joss Whedon, then serving as Marvel's Phase 2 creative consultant, read Gunn's first draft and delivered one specific note. According to production accounts, Whedon told Gunn he liked the parts that felt most like Gunn's sensibility and pushed him to go further in that direction. Whedon also advised Gunn to pull Thanos back from a central villain role to a background presence, reshaping the story's structure entirely. Watch the film's tone from the prison break sequence onward. That escalating strangeness was a direct result of another filmmaker giving Gunn permission to commit to his instincts. That same period finalized the MCU's most consequential casting decision. Number 1. The Thanos reveal late in the film is treated as a carefully restrained tease, a figure at the top of a staircase lit to obscure almost every physical detail. Per production reporting confirmed by Deadline, Whedon assisted Gunn in finalizing actor Josh Brolin's casting in May 2014, while the film was still completing post-production. Brolin reportedly drew on Marlon Brando's performance in Apocalypse Now as his internal reference for the character's presence. The staircase scene was photographed and lit that way because the full performance was still being shaped when the sequence was finalized. Watch Thanos in that scene and notice how little of his face the frame actually reveals. The figure who would anchor Marvel's next decade made his entrance before anyone had fully decided who he was going to be. Guardians of the Galaxy rewards every rewatch because almost nothing in it arrived through accident. The dropped orb was strategic, the alien typefaces encode real messages, and Xandar was built from London architecture flipped sideways. Every detail was a decision made under real pressure. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?